Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Let me introduce myself. My name is Rosita Rahim and I am from the 5th semester of English Department IAIN Parepare. Well, in this video, I would like to explain to you all my second time to make a concept map about pronunciation by the title Research on the Teaching and Acquisition of Pronunciation Skills. Well, in this chapter 2, there are two factors that influence in research on the teaching pronunciation skills. The first is the learner, and the second is the role of the native language. Well, first, I would like to explain to you the involved effect in the learner. Well, for the first is age. Why age can be involved effect from the learner? Yeah, because when we are still young, it means that we are more able, we are more easy to accept the more information from a child. But when we are old, it means that we are difficult to accept more information from our from our environment. Now, when we are still young, we have to force ourselves to improve our language. But when we are old, we cannot to force ourselves to to accept more information about language. Yeah. The next is exposure to the target. Yeah. Why this part can be involved in the learner? Because in this effect, we should have a target language in ourselves so that we can more easy to get the target language, and then we should try ourselves to get our target language. Now, in this part, the learner or the students acquire language primarily from the input that they accept or from what we are accept from that. And then we should or they should receive the large or the big amount of input before we are required to speak. Now, next is amount and type of prior pronunciation instruction. Now, this the more important, because when the learner is never or seldom to hear English or the target language from the instruction or from the teacher or from the parents, it means that we are, as a learner or as a student, will difficult to understand about it. But when the teacher or the parents so wise use or always practice or use English in the wherever it means that the children or the students will more easy to understand about that. Next is aptitude, attitude, and motivation. These three effects is really have a big relation with each other. Why? Because aptitude, it means that both of the teacher or the children or the students they have to have the aptitude from their self, and then the attitude is should interest. So maybe the learner will say that, oh yeah, this is really good, so they are motivated, they are get motivated from that, so they will try themselves to accept that. And next is we are going to the role of the native language. There are 7 parts from that, and the first is constructive analysis hypothesis. Yes, in this part, in this theory, say that the second language acquisition is filtered with the first language of learner. Next is error analysis avoidance. In this error analysis, there are three classifications from that. The first is interlingual error. It means that all the errors caused by the negative transfer from the learner's first language. There are a negative something from that, so it's happened or the causes of the error analysis. The next is intralingual error. Mean all the errors stemming from marked or complex features in the structure of the target language itself, and which does seem to be committed by all second language learner of the target language of their native language. Next is developmental error. Why it's development? It's because that just reflects that the same problems and strategies that the young children encounter and they use in acquiring the target language as the first language. Next is the interlanguage hypothesis. Oh, before that, I forgot to mention about avoidance. Now, in this avoidance, show that all or say that or show us that the second language of learners is given a particular task, are using a particular word or structure. Next is interlanguage hypothesis. Interlanguage hypothesis, also we can say that the mother tongue hypothesis, interlanguage, yeah. In this effect, there are several areas. There are several areas of focus. We should focus at that area. The first is the model of phonological development, and the second is the theory of interlanguage phonology, and the third is acquisition of syllable structure. The next is acquisition of subfragmentals, and the last is the varying phonological production of learning resulting from the formality of the speech situation in which learners are engaged and the anxiety they are experiencing, and so on. Next is Markness theory. In this theory, which proposed that in every linguistic opposition, phonological or semantic, there is one member of any pair of opposites that is psycholinguistically unmarked. Now, in this Markness theory is the first proposed and developed by Trubetskoy and Jacobson. Now, in this Markness theory, say that there are several. There are two that Ekman theory is a direct response to criticism of the constructive analysis hypothesis. The first is accurately predict which areas of the target language. So we should predict our target language, and the second is predict which exact sound would be substituted by the learner. It means that the learner, we should the teacher should predict the exact sounds by the learner. And the next is language universal. Now, in this language universal, the quest for language universal, there are two different parts. The first is maybe I will just explain why this language universal can be the effect of the role of the native language. It's because that the language universal can differ from each other. Yeah, sometimes we hear that the people say that maybe that's language or that's vocabulary is easier for them, and then we are just say that there is I seldom to hear about that, because we are also use our language. It means that there are the different language between each other. And the next is information processing theory. In this effect, which attempts to account for phonological acquisition without ignoring the effect of the native language on the second phonological acquisition. And the next and the last is looking at more than one variable. Now, in this research of the teaching pronunciation skill, we also should looking for the other variable. So we are not only focused on the one variable, but we also looking at more than one variable. Why? It's because this is comparing the both of the role of the first language and the learner's age in acquisition. And yeah, we are not only focused on the age or something, but we only should focus on the other variable, not only one variable. So the conclusion is there are two factors from the research of teaching pronunciation skill, that is the learner and the role of the native language. Okay, that's all from my video. I'm so sorry if I still have a bad pronunciation or whatever, because I still read a book. And then thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.